I was at a carol service recently, and the Reverend had the audacity to say that the Nativity was the greatest story ever told. I beg to differ. I can think of lots of stories that are way better than the Nativity. And what I've decided to do is put together a list of just 12. To back up my point, I will be choosing one scene from each of these stories to really show how great this story is and why it is better than the Nativity. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. Aliens. By far my favourite film of all time. Aliens is fantastic. It takes what was set in the first film and completely flips it on its head to give us an action-packed, fun adventure that is a real edge-of-your-seat sort of atmosphere. Favourite scene? Well, there are a few of them. However, I'd have to say my favourite is probably towards the end, when Ripley takes on the alien queen. Number 2. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, this was the first film in the series, and not only did it introduce us to one of adventure film's greatest characters, but it also became quite easily the strongest film out of all 4 of them. Indiana Jones goes in search of the Ark of the Covenant, and along the way he runs into sword-wielding maniacs, rolling boulders, and a variety of other enemies. This series was one of the first to mix action-adventure with having a laugh and some funny jokes, and is still considered one of the best films for the action-adventure genre. Favourite scene? Again, there are a few of them. However, quite easily, I'd have to choose the sword fight in the city. Number 3. Heroes Season 1. Now, if you haven't already caught it, Heroes is a television programme about a group of people who find that they have extraordinary powers. One can fly, one can regenerate, one can move space and time to travel backwards and forwards in time, and they find themselves brought together to stop a nuclear explosion in New York City. Favourite scene would have to be an entire episode when Hero, who can move space and time, and his friend Ando travel forwards in time 5 years and see exactly what would have happened to the world if New York City had been hit by the nuclear explosion. It allows you to see each of the favourite characters and what they would have become had the events unfolded as they were meant to. Number 4. The Dark Knight. One of my favourite films of all time. It's fantastic. It's got everything you could want. Christian Bale makes a really good Batman. Michael Caine is excellent as his butler Alfred. However, the star of the show, the man who really steals it, and I think most people agree, is Heath Ledger as the Joker. He gives the Joker exactly what he wanted. Not only is he a dangerous madman, but he enjoys what he does, and that's always been the fear that the Joker's able to instill. Not only does he do all these bad things, but he loves it. How can you fight a man who enjoys what he does? Favourite scene would have to be the interrogation of the Joker. He just shows everything that is really fearful about this man. He's enjoying being beaten up by Batman and all the threats.
See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve. Where's dude? You have all these rules and you think they'll save you.
Number 5. The first book in the list, and one of my favourites, Gone with the Wind. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh look at this pussy, he enjoys reading Gone with the Wind. However, it's a really good book. I read it first about 6 years ago, and it quickly became my favourite book of all time. It's about a girl called Scarlett O'Hara who finds that when things change in America, her lifestyle and the things that she has become accustomed to change dramatically as well. And it's about her personality change to make sure that she gets back exactly what she wants. Favourite scene from a book is difficult. However, it has to be when Scarlett hits a real low and she realises that she will do anything to get back the kind of prestige that she is accustomed to. Number 6. Saw. Now, I know what you're thinking. Talking about Saw at Christmas time doesn't seem particularly apt. However, it's better than the Nativity, so it deserves to be here. Now, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the last 7 years, won't know too much about the Saw films, won't know that they've been branded as torture porn, which seems a little bit unfair, especially when considering the first one, which has very little wrong with it at all. Now, the Saw films are about a killer, known as the Jigsaw Killer, who basically sets his victims tasks that are something to do with the crimes they have committed during their lives.
If you're so sick, then why do I have so many photos of you up and about? Let's put your so-called illness to the test.
They are known for two things. Firstly, and very fairly, they are known for their epic twists, especially the first film. Not going to say any more than that. And secondly, they're known for being very gruesome. And although the latter films have certainly gone that way, the first is maybe not quite as bad as the others. That said, there is obviously only one part that could possibly be considered the best scene in the film. If you're squeamish, you might want to look away. For the rest of you, enjoy. Number 7. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 1.
So how do you know where the Master's going?
I know.
Obviously it had to be here, didn't it? It's the first season of the greatest TV programme ever made, bar none. Where else could it possibly be included? The entire show is better than the Nativity. So obviously the first season's going to be in here. It sets Buffy in a new town known as Sunnydale, where she quickly learns that a Hellmouth exists under the town, and therefore lots of things like vampires, demons, witches and the like are drawn to the area. Lucky Buffy. She was hoping to just live a normal high school teenager life. Ha! Not going to happen so much. The programme mixes comedy with action and is, like I said, the greatest TV programme ever made. Here's just a snippet, just to let you see what it's all about.
Where are your jibes now? Will you laugh when my hell is on earth?
You're that amped about hell? Go there.
Number 8. Die Hard. What kind of list would it be without John McClane? Everybody's favourite anti-hero. The guy who doesn't want to be a hero, but just happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, any 4 of the films could have been in this list. However, I chose the first one because obviously it's the original. And it really sets John McClane up in this kind of doesn't want to be here, but has to be sort of role.
Attention, whoever you are. This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
No fucking shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
So, first one's very good. It sees John McClane placed in Nakatomi Plaza when some terrorists attack to steal $600 million from the vault. And he sets it his own task to sneak around, kill a few bad guys, and save the damsel in distress, as you do. Here's the scene. Enjoy.
I don't know it, I'm telling you. Get on the jet to Tokyo and ask the chairman. I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
Okay.
Number 9. The Flood. The second book in the list. And another one of my favourites, definitely Ian Rankin's best book. And that's saying a lot because he is a very good author. This was the first book that he wrote, incidentally, although not the first published. And it tells the story of a young mother and her son who were both trying to live in a village that no longer accepts them and are having hardships and need somebody to blame them. Best scene in the book, I do enjoy the bits where you hear more about the son because you see him evolving and coping not only with the way the village treats him and his mother, but also with the typical teenager problems. Number 10, Star Wars, Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. The best film in a very good series. Star Wars Episode 5 takes the characters we already know and love and places them alongside the greatest film characters in history. Now, not only is it fun, full of action and adventure and romance and comedy, but it also created one of the best Simpsons scenes in history.
Wow, what an ending! Who'd have thought Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father?
Thank you, Mr. Blow the Picture for me.
As for best scene of the film, it's probably got to be the initial Hoth fight, the battle on Hoth, which is epic, has been parodied a number of times, but never beaten. Here's a little snippet for you to enjoy. Number 11, 24, Season 2. Now, there are a number of seasons of 24 that I could have used. However, Season 2 is probably my favourite. The first episode is just enough to tell you that this is going to be a very good season. Now, because of that, there is a scene from the first episode that I've chosen as the best scene. It'll definitely show you how much better it is than the Nativity. See if this ever happened in the Nativity.
All I gotta do is testify against Walt. And I walk.
What do you think? Need a helicopter and a backup team ready to leave here in 15 minutes. Are you out of your mind? You want to find this bomb? This is what it's gonna take. Killing a witness? That's the problem with people like you, George. You want results, but you never want to get your hands dirty. I'd start rolling up your sleeves.
Now we've come to number 12, and can I just say that these are not done in any particular order. They are just 12 stories that are better than the Nativity. That said, number 12 is a real classic, a really good story, real feel-good story, and that is the original Karate Kid. Now, the story of the Karate Kid sees Daniel LaRusso and his mother move to a new town, where he quickly gets picked on by a group of bullies. Befriended by an old man, Mr. Miyagi, Daniel learns that this man knows karate, and Mr. Miyagi offers to teach him karate so that he can learn self-defense. Now, not only does Daniel learn the physical sides of karate, however, he also learns the mental sides, and it builds him not only in body, but also in mind and spirit, and I think that's the real beauty behind this film. Favourite scene has got to be that last fight. It's epic. There we are. Just 12 stories better than the Nativity. Now, I'm not saying that these are the only 12 stories better than the Nativity. In my opinion, there are loads. I think the Nativity is a very good story. However, I certainly don't think it's the greatest story ever told. These 12 stories right here show you that I'm right and the Reverend was wrong. So, I hope you've enjoyed. Have a great Christmas. See you in the new year. And don't worry, the fanboy will be back soon.